The whisper of recycled air fills first class like expensive silence. Marcus Thompson sits in 2A, his tablet glowing with Boeing's contract, the partnership that will reshape aviation technology. Monday's signature ceremony already planned, champagne already chilled. Then comes the clicking, designer heels on carpet, war drums in Prada. Patricia Hayes stops beside him, her flight attendant smile cracking at the edges like old paint on a perfect facade. Behind her, Harrison Wellington grips his briefcase like a life raft in an ocean of his own making, sweat beading on his pale forehead despite the cabin's perfect 68 degrees. His eyes dart between Marcus and the seat, pupils dilated with something beyond entitlement, raw, primal fear. "This is Mr. Wellington's seat," Patricia announces, not asking, telling. Each word drops like a gavel in a courtroom that doesn't realize it's in session. "He always sits here." Marcus looks up, slow, deliberate. The movement of a man who has learned that sudden motions make nervous people reach for their weapons, literal or otherwise. The cabin tilts toward them, phones rising from laps like periscopes, conversations dying like engines flaming out. "Then he should have booked it," Marcus says, holding up his boarding pass. 3 words. 2A. His. Wellington's hand shakes as he pulls out his wallet, the leather worn smooth from years of solving problems with its contents. Bills scatter on the tray table like autumn leaves in a windstorm. 500, 1,000, the denominations climbing with his desperation. "Please," he whispers, and there's something broken in his voice, like glass grinding against itself. "You don't understand. I need this exact seat." His voice cracks, revealing depths of need that go beyond privilege. "I'll pay anything." The money lies there between them, green evidence of a system everyone knows exists but pretends doesn't. Patricia's eyes flick to it with the practiced calculation of someone who has made this transaction before, knowing exactly what each bill represents. Not just currency, but permission. Someone's camera finds them, the lens focusing with digital precision. A red light blinks in Marcus's peripheral vision. The first-class cabin is no longer about comfort. It's about to become a courthouse where justice charges interest. Patricia Hayes calls Supervisor Robert Mitchell, whose military bearing fills the aisle like smoke before fire. 20 years of airline protocol battles with the smartphones pointed at him like witnesses he can't intimidate into silence. His jaw works silently, processing the scene, money scattered like breadcrumbs leading to discrimination, phones recording like court reporters, a black man in first class refusing to follow the unwritten rules that govern altitude and attitude. "Sir, we need you to comply immediately," Mitchell says, his voice calibrated between authority and caution, riding the edge between command and request. The cameras make him careful. The money makes him nervous. The combination makes him dangerous. Marcus Thompson doesn't move. His stillness fills more space than motion ever could. The way a held breath makes a room feel smaller. "I'd like to see the written policy that requires me to give up my assigned seat." Each word drops like evidence into a court reporter's transcript, building a case he's been preparing for his whole life without knowing it. Wellington's breathing quickens, the sound of anxiety becoming panic, becoming desperation. He fumbles in his briefcase, pulling out prescription bottles that rattle like dice in a game where everyone loses. "I have a condition," he stammers, the words tumbling over each other. "Severe anxiety. PTSD from turbulence 5 years ago. This seat, 2A, it's the only place I can—" His voice fractures like safety glass, spider webbing, but not quite shattering. "Please, I'll pay whatever you want." The bills multiply on the tray like a virus replicating. 2,000 now. 3. each $100 note a small surrender, a tiny white flag in a war. Wellington doesn't understand he's already lost. Patricia's fingers twitch toward the money, muscle memory from countless similar transactions, then pull back. The cameras see everything. The internet forgets nothing. The price of her greed just exceeded her credit limit. Maya Rodriguez in 3B holds her phone steady, framing the shot with a filmmaker's instinct inherited from a generation that documents everything because they know history is written by whoever has the best footage. She's 26, works in social media, knows viral content when she sees it brewing like a storm system on radar. Her Instagram story is already updating. "Y'all won't believe what's happening on my flight right now." The first domino tips with a soft click that will echo for years. "This is getting ridiculous," mutters the businessman in 2C, loud enough to be heard, careful enough to avoid taking sides. He's learned the corporate art of visible neutrality, of being present without being accountable. The elderly couple in 4A watches with the exhausted recognition of people who've seen this play before. Different cast, same script, same ending where dignity gets priced by the pound. Patricia leans closer to Marcus, drops her voice to a whisper that carries anyway, the way secrets do in small spaces. "Sir, Mr. Wellington is a valued platinum member. He's special to us." The word special hangs in the air like a noose looking for a neck, like history repeating itself at 30,000 feet. "I'm also a platinum member," Marcus replies, pulling out his card. The black metal catches the light, reflecting privilege that apparently comes in shades. "Unless some platinum members are more special than others?" Mitchell's hand moves to his radio, the gesture choreographed from 100 similar scenes. The threat is meant to end resistance, but it looks like surrender wearing a uniform. "Sir, if you don't comply, I'll have to call security." "Then call them," Marcus says. His calm is terrifying in its completeness, like the eye of a hurricane that knows exactly how much damage it's about to cause. "But first, explain to everyone recording why a paying passenger with a valid ticket is being removed to accommodate someone who didn't book this seat." Wellington makes his fatal error. He reaches out with the desperation of a drowning man who doesn't realize he's pulling others under. He grabs Patricia's hand, presses bills into her palm with fingers that shake like winter branches. The movement is quick, furtive, but Maya Rodriguez's camera is quicker. She zooms in, catches the exact moment Patricia's fingers close around the money, the instant her professional mask slips to reveal the greed beneath, raw and undeniable as gravity. "Did she just—" Someone gasps, the sound sharp in the pressurized cabin. "She took a bribe. On camera. In front of everyone." The cabin atmosphere shifts from tension to disbelief, the collective intake of breath like cabin pressure dropping. This isn't subtle discrimination anymore, the kind everyone knows exists but pretends doesn't. This is corruption performed like theater, prejudice with a price tag attached, bigotry with a receipt. Captain Donald Hayes emerges from the cockpit like a king surveying a peasant revolt, his uniform carrying 4 stripes and 40 years of never being questioned by anyone who looked like Marcus Thompson. He takes in the scene, the money scattered like evidence, the cameras pointed like weapons, the black man who won't move, and his face hardens into the expression of a man about to make things infinitely worse. "What's the situation?" he asks, though his tone suggests he's already decided, the verdict reached before the trial begins. Mitchell straightens, finds courage in hierarchy, strength in the chain of command that's about to hang them all. "This passenger is refusing crew member instructions, Captain." Hayes doesn't ask for details, doesn't check boarding passes, doesn't follow any procedure that might complicate his predetermined conclusion. His years of experience have taught him that some problems solve themselves if you apply enough authority. "Sir?" He addresses Marcus with the kind of politeness that cuts deeper than hostility. As captain of this aircraft, I'm ordering you to move. Immediately. On what grounds? Marcus asks, his voice level as a carpenter's tool. I have discretion over passenger seating for safety and security reasons. What safety concern do I pose? The question hangs unanswered because everyone knows the answer has nothing to do with safety and everything to do with the color of Marcus's skin and the whiteness of Wellington's money. The silence stretches like a rubber band about to snap and take someone's eye out. Marcus pulls out his phone. Speed dial. Speaker on. The cabin leans in to listen like congregants at a sermon they don't know will become a eulogy. Samantha, it's Marcus. Kill the Boeing deal. The words hit like turbulence in clear skies. Wellington stumbles backward as if physically struck. Patricia's mouth opens in a perfect O of shock, the money in her hand suddenly feeling heavier than lead. Mitchell's radio hand freezes mid-motion like a video buffering. I'm sorry, sir. Did you say... Samantha's voice carries through the speaker, professional concern barely masking shock. You heard me. Cancel everything. The entire 4.2 billion. All contracts, all subsidiaries, all partnerships with Skyline Airways. Effective immediately. The number hangs in the air like a price tag on prejudice. 4.2 billion. Enough to buy several airlines. Enough to fund thousands of first-class tickets. Enough to make discrimination the most expensive mistake in aviation history. Sir, that's... Are you certain? I'm being removed from a flight for the crime of sitting while black. So yes, I'm certain. Send the cancellation notices now. He ends the call. The silence that follows is louder than engines, deeper than the space between ground and cruising altitude. Wellington has gone pale, his anxiety medication forgotten, replaced by a different kind of panic. The kind that comes with realizing you've just cost more money than most people see in a lifetime. Patricia still holds his money, but now it feels like evidence at a crime scene, 30 pieces of silver for a modern betrayal. Boeing? Mitchell whispers, the word escaping like air from a punctured lung. Did you say Boeing? Marcus doesn't answer. He's already scrolling through his contacts, finding another number, building his case one call at a time. Jessica? Yes, I need you to draft a press release. Skyline Airways just lost the Boeing partnership. Discrimination lawsuit to follow. The cabin erupts in whispers, the sound like wind through wheat fields of witnesses. Passengers Google frantically, thumb-typing searches that connect dots like a child's puzzle, revealing a picture nobody wants to see. Marcus Thompson. Next-gen technologies. Boeing deal. The pieces connect like a jury reaching a verdict. The man they're trying to remove isn't just any passenger. He's the CEO whose company just revolutionized aviation communications. He's Boeing's newest partner. Was Boeing's newest partner. Was about to make Skyline Airways rich beyond their discriminatory dreams. Wait, Wellington stammers, his face cycling through emotions like a slot machine where every combination loses. There's been a misunderstanding. I don't need the seat that badly. I can sit somewhere else. But it's too late for retreat. The battle lines are drawn in money and melanin. The cameras are rolling like dice that always come up snake eyes for justice. The money has changed hands like a torch passing from one generation of discrimination to the next. Airport police are already walking up the jet bridge, their shadows falling across the aircraft door like a final curtain on the theater of the absurd that first class has become. 3 officers enter. They look tired, like men who've removed too many passengers for too many reasons that would never hold up in court, but always hold up at 30,000 feet. The lead officer, Sergeant Thompson, the irony of the shared surname not lost on anyone with a sense of cosmic humor, approaches with the weary professionalism of someone who knows he's about to become evidence in a case that will outlive his career. Sir, We need you to come with us, he says to Marcus, because of course he says it to Marcus. In a dispute between a sweating white man waving money like surrender flags and a calm black man in a $1,000 suit, they know which one looks like trouble. They've been trained to see threats in shades of brown. Marcus stands slowly, every movement deliberate, designed for the dozen cameras tracking him like he's a rare species being documented for some future museum of American shame. He straightens his tie. Silk, imported, worth more than Patricia Hayes makes in a week. Buttons his jacket. Armani, tailored, cut to fit shoulders that carry more than fabric. Transforms his removal into a runway walk of dignity, a masterclass in maintaining grace under pressure that would crush lesser men. Officers, I want your badge numbers for my legal team. He reads them aloud for the cameras, for the court records, for posterity. That's 4427, 3891, and 5502. I am complying under protest. This is wrongful removal based on racial discrimination. This airline accepted a bribe to remove a paying passenger. Patricia drops the money like it's burning her fingers, but the damage is done. Every camera caught it. Every passenger saw it. The bills flutter to the floor of the first-class cabin, where they lie like autumn leaves that will never see spring. Wellington's thousands scatter across the aisle like guilt made visible, each bill a piece of evidence in the lawsuit that's already being drafted in Marcus's mind. Please don't make this difficult, Sergeant Thompson says, but his eyes flicker with something. Shame? Maybe? Or recognition that he's on the wrong side of history being recorded in real time, uploaded in high definition, shared across platforms he doesn't understand by a generation that refuses to let injustice pass unwitnessed. I'm not making anything difficult, Marcus replies, gathering his tablet with its unsigned contract, his phone with its growing list of missed calls from Boeing executives, his dignity that no amount of money can purchase. I'm making it expensive. As he walks toward the exit, he passes Wellington, who has collapsed into the nearest seat. Not 2A, suddenly not brave enough for the seat that cost billions. Marcus pauses, looks down at the man whose anxiety just triggered an avalanche that will bury Skyline Airways in lawsuits and lost revenue. I hope it's comfortable, Marcus says quietly, his voice carrying the weight of every black passenger who ever gave up their seat to keep the peace. That seat just cost your airline everything. The last thing Marcus sees before leaving is Maya Rodriguez, still filming, tears streaming down her face as she mouths the words, "I got it all." And she did. Every frame a nail in the coffin of discrimination. Every second a testimony that privilege has a price, and Skyline Airways is about to pay it with interest. The VIP lounge at JFK Airport becomes Marcus Thompson's war room, command center for a battle that started at 30,000 feet, but will be fought in courtrooms and boardrooms and the court of public opinion. He sits in a leather chair that costs more than most people's monthly rent, his phone pressed to his ear, while his laptop screen fills with notifications like a slot machine hitting jackpot after jackpot of vindication. Yes, Gloria, I need you here within the hour, he tells his attorney, his voice carrying the controlled burn of righteousness monetized. Bring the whole team. We're not just suing for discrimination. We're going after the pattern. He pauses, listens to her questions. Yes, I have evidence. More than you can imagine. His phone buzzes with another call. Boeing. The name flashes like a warning light on his screen. He lets it go to voicemail for now. Let them sweat. Let them wonder if their newest partner just became their biggest problem. Let them calculate the cost of standing by him versus standing by an airline that just made discrimination a spectator sport. The stock market has already started its judgment. Skyline Airways dropped 8% in the first hour of trading. each percentage point worth millions in market cap, evaporating like dignity in first class. Maya Rodriguez's video spreads across social media like wildfire in drought season. The title is perfect in its simplicity, devastating in its accuracy. Black CEO forced to give up first-class seat, bribe caught on camera. The thumbnail shows Patricia Hayes with cash in her hand, her face frozen in that moment, between greed and recognition. The exact second she realized her price was being broadcast to the world. Within an hour, the video has been shared across platforms Marcus barely understands. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, or X, as it insists on being called now. Each platform adding its own layer of outrage, its own chorus of voices demanding justice. The comments become a river of testimony, thousands sharing their own stories of aerial discrimination, their own moments of being made to feel less than human at higher altitudes. Alex Turner, aviation blogger with 2 million followers and the investigative instincts of a bloodhound catching scent, picks up the story within the hour. His research is swift, thorough, devastating. A reverse image search pulls up Marcus's corporate headshots. LinkedIn provides the corporate biography. Tech conference attendance lists confirm the connections. The threads weave together into a rope that will hang Skyline Airways. "Holy shit," Turner tweets, the profanity justified by the magnitude of the revelation. "That's Marcus Thompson, CEO of Next Gen Technologies. The man Skyline just kicked off their plane controls, the Boeing deal that could revolutionize aviation communications. They just discriminated themselves out of billions." The retweets explode like popcorn in hot oil. Financial Twitter picks it up, adding spreadsheets and market analysis. Tech Twitter amplifies it with insider knowledge of what Next Gen's technology means for aviation. Black Twitter transforms it into a movement, a rallying cry, a moment of collective recognition that this time, this one time, the discrimination came with a price tag that white folks could understand. Flying. While black trends worldwide within 2 hours, but it's the details that make the story stick like gum on airline carpet. The contract value appears in every headline, every tweet, every shocked reaction. It's not just discrimination. It's the most expensive discrimination in airline history, and the bill is still being tallied. Marcus's phone rings again. Unknown number with a 212 area code, Manhattan prefix. He answers this time, instinct telling him this call matters. "Mr. Thompson, this is Sarah Collins. I was working your flight. I'm a flight attendant with Skyline." Her voice shakes like autumn leaves in a storm she's been watching gather for years. "I saw everything, and I need you to know, this isn't the first time." Marcus sits up straighter, his spine aligning with possibility. "What do you mean?" "I've been documenting it for 3 years. Every time they move someone for a premium passenger, every time Patricia takes money, every time Captain Hayes backs her up." She takes a breath that sounds like courage gathering itself for a leap. "I have videos, 47 of them." The room seems to tilt on its axis. Marcus closes his eyes, sees his father's face floating in the darkness behind his eyelids. James Thompson had worked as a janitor at Detroit Metropolitan Airport for 30 years, pushing mops and emptying trash while planes he could never afford to fly took off over his head. Never missed a shift. Never complained about cleaning up after people who looked through him like he was furniture. Never fought back against a system designed to keep him grounded. "Don't make waves," he used to tell young Marcus, his voice heavy with the weight of learned helplessness. "Waves drown black folks first." But Marcus had learned to swim in different waters, had learned that sometimes the only way to survive is to become the tsunami. "Can you send them to me?" he asks Sarah. I could lose my job. You could change an industry. Silence stretches between them like a tightrope over an abyss. Then, check your email in 5 minutes. The password is your seat number. She hangs up before he can thank her, before he can tell her that her courage is worth more than any job. 5 minutes later, the email arrives like evidence from heaven. Subject line, "The real skyline." He types the password with fingers that don't shake despite the magnitude of what he's about to see. 2A. The folder opens like Pandora's box upgraded for the digital age, like every racist's nightmare of accountability made manifest. 47 videos, meticulously organized by date, each one a small death of dignity captured in high definition. He clicks the first one, dated 3 years ago. Patricia Hayes training a new flight attendant, her voice clear as discrimination crystallized. Some passengers have priority beyond their tickets. The Wellingtons, the Ashfords, the Richardsons. They get whatever seat they want. If someone's already there, we accommodate our special guests. Always. Accommodate. The word tastes like poison sweetened with corporate speak. The second video, a Latino man being moved from first class to coach. His daughter, maybe 8 years old, clutching a Moana doll, crying as they gather their belongings. Patricia Hayes smiling that same plastic smile that Marcus now recognizes as the face of systemic racism. "Thank you for your flexibility," she says, as if flexibility is just another word for accepting injustice. The third, an elderly black woman, probably 70, wearing her Sunday best for what might be a rare flight. Being told her first-class seat was incorrectly assigned, despite the ticket in her weathered hands saying otherwise. The confusion on her face as she's escorted to coach breaks something in Marcus's chest. The triumph on the white man's face as he settles into her seat makes him want to break something else. Video after video. A pattern as clear as runway lights guiding planes full of discrimination to land safely in the hangar of systemic racism. Marcus feels something shift in his chest. This isn't just about him. It never was. He's just the one with enough power to make them pay attention, enough money to make them pay, period. His laptop pings with the distinctive chime of executive urgency. Thomas Morrison, CEO of Boeing, has sent a personal email. Marcus reads it twice, parsing the corporate speak for human meaning. "Marcus, I'm seeing the news. This is beyond unacceptable. Boeing stands with you completely. Whatever you need, legal resources, public support, pressure on Skyline, say the word. Some things matter more than contracts. We can sign with any airline. We choose to sign with partners who share our values. Call me. Tom." It's corporate speak for choosing sides. It's Boeing saying they value Marcus more than Skyline. It's billions of dollars of backup wrapped in bureaucratic language. It's the kind of support that turns lawsuits into landmarks. The news breaks on CNN at 2 p.m. Eastern, just as America settles in for afternoon coffee and outrage. Anderson Cooper doesn't hold back, his silver fox gravitas lending weight to words that might otherwise sound like hyperbole. A shocking video has emerged showing what appears to be systematic discrimination at Skyline Airways. The passenger removed? Marcus Thompson, CEO of Next Gen Technologies, who just cancelled a multi-billion-dollar deal with Boeing as a result. They play the video, then they play it again, and again. The money changing hands becomes the image that defines the story, the frame that will be frozen in time like a monument to greed. Patricia Hayes becomes the face of corporate discrimination, her smile in the footage now looking like the rictus grin of someone who just realized they're famous for all the wrong reasons. Wellington becomes the symbol of privilege, literally buying priority, his shaking hands and sweating face the perfect portrait of entitlement under pressure. The Chiron scrolls. Breaking. Airline stock plummets after discrimination. Video goes viral. The numbers tick by like a countdown to corporate catastrophe. Down 12%? 15? 20? Each percentage point represents millions in market value, transforming into expensive lessons about the cost of bigotry. Marcus's phone rings. His mother. The contact photo shows her at his father's funeral, standing proud despite her grief, wearing the same church hat she'd worn to his graduation, his first board meeting, every moment where her baby boy achieved something his daddy never lived to see. "Baby," she says, and in that one word is decades of worry and pride mixed together like sugar and salt in the recipe of black parenthood. "I saw the video. Are you okay?" "I'm fine, Mama." "No, you're not. You haven't been fine since Mrs. Patterson in 6th grade. She knows him too well, knows that childhood wounds leave scars that success can cover but never heal. But you're doing what your daddy couldn't, fighting back with something stronger than fists." "What's that?" "Consequences, baby. Expensive ones." After they hang up, Marcus opens Twitter, watches his mentions fill like a digital deluge. His notifications are a flood of stories, tributaries of pain flowing into an ocean of shared experience. Other passengers sharing their stories of aerial apartheid, other airlines being called out for similar systems. The dam hasn't just broken, it's been obliterated by the force of collective testimony. Flying a while black has evolved into something bigger, spreading like a virus that infects with truth instead of sickness. It's becoming a reckoning. Jessica Williams, his COO for 7 years, and the only person who can read his moods from his typing speed, arrives with Gloria Anderson and a team of lawyers that bill more per hour than most people make per month. They transform the VIP lounge into a legal command center that would make the Justice Department jealous. Documents spread across tables like battle plans. Laptops open to legal databases and precedents. The 47 videos from Sarah Collins playing on repeat, each viewing revealing new details, new evidence, new reasons to make Skyline Airways pay. "This is a pattern of racketeering," Gloria says, her eyes gleaming with the joy of a prosecutor who just found the smoking gun, the bloody knife, and the signed confession all in the same evidence bag. "They took money. Regularly. Systematically. This goes beyond discrimination. This is organized crime in the friendly skies. Can we prove it? With these videos? With that flight attendant's testimony? With Wellington's involvement?" Gloria smiles like a shark that just spotted a seal bleeding in open water. "We won't just prove it. We'll make it so expensive they'll be teaching this case in law schools for the next century. Marcus Thompson v. Skyline Airways will be the Plessy v. Ferguson of aviation law, except this time, separate and unequal losers." Skyline's PR team releases a statement at 3 p.m. that makes everything worse, pouring gasoline on a fire that's already consuming their reputation. Skyline Airways is investigating an incident aboard flight SL-127. "We take all allegations of discrimination seriously and are committed to diversity and inclusion." The internet tears it apart within minutes, like piranhas discovering fresh meat. "Investigating? We all saw the video," one user posts, getting 50,000 retweets. "Committed to diversity? Your staff took bribes to remove a black CEO." Another adds, the ratio on their tweet becoming legendary. 100,000 responses to 200 likes. A digital pile-on that will be studied in social media crisis management classes. "Allegations?" someone else tweets. "It's on video. Patricia Hayes took cash, on camera. That's not an allegation. That's evidence." By sunset, Skyline Airways has lost $400 million in market value. Their stock price looks like a ski slope, all downhill, no lift back up. Board members are calling emergency meetings. Executives are updating resumes. And somewhere in Queens, Patricia Hayes is watching her life unravel one news alert at a time, her phone buzzing with calls from reporters who want to know how much dignity costs these days. 3 days pass like dominoes falling in slow motion, each one knocking down another pillar of Skyline's carefully constructed discrimination system. Each hour brings new revelations, new consequences, new cracks in the foundation of an airline built on the assumption that some passengers matter more than others. Marcus Thompson sits in the conference room at Morrison & Associates, watching news feeds on multiple screens like a general observing enemy positions, while his legal team builds a case that will reshape aviation law. The Department of Transportation moves with unusual speed, the viral video apparently lubricating the usually rusty gears of government. By day 2, they've opened a formal investigation. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission joins on day 3, their involvement elevating this from a customer service issue to a civil rights case. The evidence is too damning, too public, too expensive to ignore. Sarah Collins has agreed to testify, her courage bolstered by whistleblower protections and the promise that Marcus's legal team will defend her career with the same fervor they're attacking Skyline's practices. Patricia Hayes is arrested at 6 a.m. on a Thursday that starts bad and gets worse. The image, her being led from her Queens apartment in handcuffs, trying to shield her face with the same hands that took bribes, becomes the photo that defines corporate discrimination's personal cost. She's charged with commercial bribery, a felony in New York that carries real prison time. The news crews catch her stumbling on her front steps, her airline-issued heels failing her when she needs them most. Robert Mitchell turns himself in that afternoon, his military bearing crumbling as he's processed, fingerprinted, photographed. 20 years of service reduced to a mugshot that will follow him forever. Captain Donald Hayes has his pilot's license suspended pending federal investigation, 40 years of flying ending not with a smooth landing, but a crash that everyone saw coming except him. But it's Harrison Wellington who provides the most unexpected twist in a story already full of surprises. "Mr. Thompson?" His lawyer calls on day 4, the timing suggesting negotiations that started the moment the video went viral. "My client would like to make a statement. He's prepared to testify about the systematic nature of these transactions." Wellington's deposition reads like a confession at the Church of Privilege, each word a small penance for years of purchasing priority. 5 years of payments detailed with the obsessive precision of someone who keeps receipts for his receipts. $50,000 in small bills, handed over in bathroom stalls that smelled of disinfectant and discrimination, in empty galleys where right and wrong got mixed up with the beverage service. A system so normalized that Skyline employees had a code name for it. Premium Accommodation Protocol, corporate speak for corruption. "I'm not proud of what I did," Wellington says in his recorded statement, his voice smaller than the man who demanded seat 2A. "My anxiety disorder isn't an excuse. I used my wealth to buy comfort at the expense of other people's dignity. I want to make this right." He reveals more than just his own payments, pulling back the curtain on a whole production. He names names like a mob informant in witness protection, other wealthy passengers who participated in the payment for priority scheme, other flight crews who facilitated with the smooth efficiency of drug dealers. A network of discrimination that touches every major route Skyline flies, a web of bigotry with a price list attached. Skyline stock price craters like a meteor impact, down 35% in 3 days. 800 million in market value evaporated, transformed into a very expensive lesson about equality. Boeing formally announces they're reassessing all airline partnerships in light of recent revelations. Translation: Skyline is toxic, and the multi-billion-dollar deal is following Marcus out the door, taking its potential profits with it. Richard Blackstone, Skyline's CEO for 12 years and counting, down, calls an emergency board meeting that becomes his execution. The boardroom at Skyline headquarters, all glass and chrome and modern design that suddenly looks as outdated as their policies, fills with members who smell blood in the water. The vote of no confidence is unanimous. 12 votes to 0, with Blackstone abstaining from his own professional funeral. He's out before lunch, his golden parachute shredded by the criminal investigation that makes his severance package evidence rather than reward. The interim CEO, Maria Gonzalez, inherits a company in freefall without a parachute, a plane with its engines on fire trying to land in a storm. She's 52, the daughter of Mexican immigrants who cleaned planes and loaded baggage, who knew what the inside of an aircraft looked like, but never its passenger cabin. Her first act is to fire everyone the investigation has touched. Her second is to figure out how to save a company that might not deserve saving. Marcus watches all of this from his war room, feeling something between satisfaction and exhaustion, like a marathon runner who can see the finish line but whose legs are screaming. His phone rings constantly, reporters wanting quotes, supporters sharing their own stories, other CEOs offering solidarity that comes with the unspoken understanding that this could have been them. But it's a call from an unknown number that changes the game's rules. Mr. Thompson, this is Maria Gonzalez. I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from, but I need 5 minutes of your time. You have 2. I'm not them. My mother cleaned planes for Skyline for 30 years. Never got to sit in one until I made enough money to buy her a ticket. My father loaded baggage until his back gave out. Spent his last years bent like a question mark from lifting other people's luxury. Her voice cracks slightly, professionally controlled emotion leaking through. I've seen this system from both sides. I've been its victim and, to my shame, its enforcer. I want to fix this. Not with PR statements or empty promises, real change. But I need your help. My help? Marcus laughs, but there's no humor in it. Your company tried to destroy me. No. My company's past leadership tried to destroy you. I'm offering you the chance to help destroy them. She pauses, and he can hear her taking a breath that sounds like courage. Meet with me. Please. Let me show you what I'm proposing. Against Gloria's advice and his own better judgment, Marcus agrees. They meet at a neutral location, a conference room at the Grand Hyatt, corporate neutral territory. Gonzalez arrives alone. No lawyers, no handlers, just her and a folder that looks heavy with more than paper. She looks like she hasn't slept since taking the job, like she's aged 5 years in 5 days, like she's carrying the weight of every discriminated passenger on her shoulders. I've fired everyone involved. She starts, her voice steady despite the exhaustion written on her face. Not just the 3 from your flight. 27 employees across 6 airports, every person Sarah Collins identified in her videos, every manager who knew and did nothing. I've initiated a complete review of our customer service protocols, but I know that's not enough. It's barely a start. She slides a folder across the table. Marcus opens it, his eyes widening at the contents. It's not a settlement offer. Those are for people who think problems can be solved with single payments. It's a transformation plan that reads like a complete rebuilding of Skyline from the ground up. Complete restructuring of diversity policies with enforcement mechanisms that have teeth. Body cameras for all customer-facing staff, because apparently airline employees need the same accountability as police. A compliance board with real power, not the usual toothless committee that meets quarterly to rubber-stamp discrimination. And at the bottom, a number that makes even Marcus pause. 500 million, Gonzalez says. Not to you personally. To establish an independent foundation that monitors discrimination across the entire airline industry. You'd have a permanent board seat, veto power over our customer service policies. 20% of our annual profits would fund it in perpetuity. You're offering me part ownership of your airline. I'm offering you the power to make sure this never happens again. To anyone. on any airline, ever. She meets his eyes directly. I can't undo what happened to you. I can't bring back the dignity they tried to steal, but I can make sure the next Marcus Thompson keeps his seat, that the next Sarah Collins doesn't have to risk her job to do what's right, that the next Harrison Wellington gets help for his anxiety without hurting others. The negotiation takes 12 hours, stretching through the night like a labor that's birthing something new. Marcus's team pushes for more oversight, more transparency, more consequences. Gonzalez fights for her company's survival while acknowledging its sins. They break twice for food that no one really eats. Once for Sarah Collins to present her evidence directly to Gonzalez, who watches the 47 videos with tears streaming down her face, seeing her industry's shame in high definition. I didn't know, she whispers after the last one. Yes, you did, Marcus replies. Not cruel, but honest. You just didn't want to see it. None of us do, until it's our dignity on the auction block. By dawn, they have a deal that feels less like victory and more like justice. Not just compensation, transformation. Skyline will become the first airline with mandatory anti-discrimination training designed by civil rights experts, not HR departments trying to avoid lawsuits. The first with a real-time reporting system for bias incidents, where passengers can document discrimination as it happens. The first to tie executive bonuses to diversity metrics that actually matter, not the meaningless statistics that let companies claim progress while changing nothing. The announcement comes at a joint press conference that feels like a surrender ceremony where both sides somehow win. The conference room at the Grand Hyatt fills with reporters who've been following the story like bloodhounds. Cameras click like automatic weapons firing truth. Maria Gonzalez speaks first, her prepared statement abandoned for something rawer, more real. Skyline Airways failed. We failed Marcus Thompson. We failed thousands of passengers who trusted us to treat them with dignity. We failed our own values, if we ever really had them. She looks directly at the cameras, knowing this moment will define her career, maybe her life. This isn't about damage control. This is about acknowledging that our damage was the control we exerted over who belonged in which seats. That ends today. Marcus speaks next. No notes, no script. Just truth delivered with the precision of someone who's been rehearsing this moment his whole life without knowing it. 4 days ago, I was removed from a seat I paid for because someone believed their comfort mattered more than my dignity. That seat, that moment of discrimination, will cost Skyline Airways more than money. It's already cost them their reputation, their leadership, their assumptions about who belongs where. He pauses, lets the weight of the moment settle. But what we're announcing today is worth more than any lawsuit. It's proof that discrimination is expensive, that dignity has value, and that change is possible when we make the cost of prejudice higher than the cost of justice. The Equal Skies Foundation launches with Sarah Collins as its first director of monitoring, her courage in documenting discrimination now channeled into preventing it. Her 47 videos become training materials for what not to do, each one a lesson in how bias becomes policy, how prejudice becomes procedure. Patricia Hayes pleads guilty, accepting 18 months in prison rather than risk trial where those videos would play on repeat. At her sentencing, she breaks down, tears that come too late to matter. "I was just following protocol," she sobs, the words hanging in the courtroom like a confession to more than bribery. The judge, a black woman who's probably heard every excuse for discrimination, responds with the patience of someone who's tired of explaining obvious truths. So were the guards at Nuremberg. The "I was just following orders" defense didn't work then. It doesn't work now. Next case. Wellington surprises everyone by becoming an unexpected advocate for reform. His donations to Equal Skies grow beyond the mandated millions to voluntary contributions that fund pilot training for students who look like the people he helped displace. He enters intensive therapy, not the kind where rich people talk about their feelings, but the kind where they confront the damage their feelings caused others. "I let my mental health become a weapon against other people's dignity," he says in a recorded statement that plays at Equal Skies training sessions. "That's not anxiety. That's abuse. And I'm sorry." 3 months later, the first Equal Skies report card comes out. Every major airline gets graded on their discrimination complaints, their diversity metrics, their seat assignment patterns. Skyline, under Gonzalez's leadership, shows the most improvement, from an F to a C+ in 90 days. Not great, but trending in the right direction. Other airlines scramble to improve their grades before the next quarterly report makes their discrimination public. But the real moment of triumph comes quietly, without fanfare or press releases. Sarah Collins completes her pilot training, funded by the settlement, supported by the foundation she helped create. The woman who risked everything to document discrimination now sits in the cockpit, holding the controls instead of serving drinks. Captain Sarah Collins. The title tastes like justice. "You saved our company," Gonzalez tells her at the wing-pinning ceremony. "No," Sarah replies, adjusting her new captain's hat. "I saved our conscience. The company was just a side effect." Marcus watches from the audience, thinking about his father, about Mrs. Patterson in 6th grade, about every moment when dignity was denied, and he had to smile through it. His phone buzzes with a text from his mother. "Your daddy would be so proud. Not of the money, of the change." He's about to respond when another text arrives, this one from Thomas Morrison at Boeing. "Congrats on Equal Skies launch. BTW ready to revisit that contract? Same terms, same timeline, different airline partners who actually share our values." Marcus smiles. Types back, "Let's talk Monday, but this time I pick where I sit." 6 months after flight SL-11847, the Equal Skies Aviation Academy holds its first graduation in a hangar at Atlanta International Airport. 25 young pilots receive their wings in a ceremony where Justice wears shoulder stripes and carries flight plans. The rain falls soft on the metal roof, drumming out a rhythm that sounds like applause from the sky itself. Marcus Thompson watches from the podium, his mother in the front row wearing her best church hat, the same one she wore to his father's funeral, to his graduation, to every moment where her baby boy did something his daddy never lived to see. Behind her sit 500 family members who never imagined their children could fly planes instead of just cleaning them. The diversity in the room isn't a photo opportunity or a PR statement. It's earned, fought for, paid in full at the highest interest rate. Maria Gonzalez takes the microphone first, her voice stronger than it was 6 months ago when she inherited a burning company. Half a year ago, Skyline Airways nearly died from a disease we'd been nurturing for decades. Discrimination, privilege, the quiet cruelty of "that's how it's always been." She pauses, finds Marcus in the crowd. "One man's refusal to give up his seat saved us from ourselves. These graduates prove that from shame can grow something beautiful, that from discrimination can come determination." The rain intensifies, but nobody moves. This moment cost too much to abandon for something as trivial as weather. Marcus thinks about his father, James Thompson, who died believing the system couldn't change, who cleaned airports for 30 years without ever believing he belonged inside the planes. Wishes he could see this, not the revenge, but the resurrection. Not the destruction of Skyline, but its rebuilding into something better. Marcus steps forward, no prepared speech, just truth that's been fermenting for months. "My father worked 3 jobs and never complained. He taught me that dignity was something you carried inside where nobody could touch it." He pauses, remembering Sunday dinners where his father's exhaustion sat at the table like an uninvited guest. He was wrong about that last part. They can take your dignity. They do take it. Every day, in 1,000 small ways. But what I learned on flight SL 1947 is that when they take it, you don't just take it back. You build something so powerful they can never take it again. The graduates step forward one by one. Each name called is a seat that can never be stolen. Each wing pinned is altitude achieved against gravity, both physical and social. Sarah Collins receives hers last, pinned by Gonzalez herself in a moment heavy with symbolism. "Captain Collins," Gonzalez says, her voice carrying across the hangar. "From flight attendant to whistleblower to pilot, you didn't just change careers, you changed an industry." That evening, Marcus boards a Skyline flight to New York. The gate agent scans his ticket without recognition, without special treatment, without any acknowledgement beyond professional courtesy. "Seat 5C, Mr. Thompson. Boarding Group 2. No drama, no discrimination, no special privileges. Just a man with a ticket boarding a plane." The revolution isn't that Marcus Thompson gets treated specially, it's that he doesn't need to be. He finds his middle seat in Economy Plus, randomly assigned like everyone else's by an algorithm that doesn't see color, only reservation numbers. The passenger in 5B, an elderly white man reading a Tom Clancy novel, nods politely. The passenger in 5A, a teenage Latina with MIT on her sweatshirt, is already deep in a calculus textbook. Nobody knows who Marcus is. Nobody cares. Perfect. As the plane rises above Atlanta, Marcus opens his laptop to review tomorrow's Equal Skies board meeting agenda. International expansion starting with the European Union. The James Thompson Memorial Scholarship launching for children of service workers. Skyline's latest diversity audit showing continued improvement. Boeing's new contract with 3 airlines that passed Equal Skies certification. The work continues. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain Sarah Collins." Marcus's eyes snap open, a smile spreading across his face at the familiar voice. "We're expecting smooth skies all the way to New York. Sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight with Skyline Airways, where every passenger matters." Sarah Collins. From the woman who risked everything to document discrimination to the woman flying the plane. Another seat that can never be stolen. Another dream that refused to accept the altitude restrictions society tried to impose. Another reminder that justice, when it finally arrives, sometimes comes with wings. On the 1-year anniversary of the incident, Patricia Hayes bags groceries at a Stop and Shop in Queens. 18 months served, lifetime flying ban enforced. She sees the Equal Skies commercial on the break room TV and changes the channel without comment. Some ghosts don't need revisiting. Some lessons come too late to matter. Some prices are paid in more than money. Harrison Wellington runs a support group for executives with anxiety, teaching breathing techniques instead of bribery, coping mechanisms that don't require corrupting others. His donations to Equal Skies have exceeded $50 million, funding pilot training for 100 students annually. Comfort built on someone else's discomfort isn't comfort, he tells his group. It's complicity, and complicity costs more than therapy. The industry statistics tell the larger story. Discrimination complaints down 67% across all certified airlines. Blind seat assignments now standard on 14 major carriers. Executive bonuses tied to diversity metrics at 11 airlines and counting. What started as one man's humiliation has become an industry's transformation. Marcus posts a simple message on the anniversary. 1 year ago, they took my seat. In return, I took their future. But this was never about revenge. It's about ensuring the sky belongs to everyone who buys a ticket. Period. The message goes viral again, but differently this time. not with outrage but with progress reports. People sharing their recent flights where nothing happened, the most beautiful stories of all. Where black passengers sat in first class without question. Where flight attendants served everyone with equal smiles. Where dignity flew standard on every route. In the end, Marcus Thompson flies middle seat, economy class, and finds it perfectly comfortable. Because the point was never luxury. It was never about champagne or legroom or priority boarding. It was about the radical idea that a ticket should be enough. That dignity should come standard with every fare class. That the color of your money should matter more than the color of your skin. The multi-billion-dollar Boeing contract started this story. But what ends it is priceless. The simple truth that everyone deserves their seat. Everyone deserves the sky. Everyone deserves to fly without fear of being grounded by someone else's privilege. Marcus closes his laptop as the plane descends toward New York. The lights of the city spread below like promises kept. Somewhere tonight, a young black child is taking their first flight, sitting wherever their ticket says, never knowing they're flying through skies that were fought for, paid for, changed forever by a man who refused to give up his seat. The price was more than money. The cost was everything. The value was infinite. And every time a plane takes off with passengers seated by reservation number instead of race, the investment pays another dividend. $4.2 billion. That's what discrimination cost Skyline Airways. But dignity? Dignity remains priceless. And now, finally, it flies free.